So every now and then you get a chance to chop it up with somebody that you're just going to refer to as the United Spot on the world. What's up, Spot?
Hey, Chris Champion, how are you?
Good.
Great to be here right now. Thanks for inviting.
I have this feeling that if I keep referring to you as Spot, one of my three dogs in the office right now are just going to jump up and go, Dad, are you interviewing a dog? A dog named Spot? And I'll be like, no, it's the United Spot.
Now, I've noticed you have quite a few dogs.
I do. I got four of them. I didn't plan it that way. I had one big one. It was just me and the big guy.
Well, dogs are some of my best friends.
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I think dogs are my only friends.
Absolutely. I love dogs. I love dogs.
It's funny. The people my dogs like are good people. They end up turning out to be genuinely good people.
Absolutely.
People that my dogs don't like or growl at or try to bite, there's something inherently wrong with those people.
I think you might be onto something.
Yeah. And like when I'm feeling sick, my dogs come to me like magnets, and like
Well,
for whatever reason, I just get better. Like they know when I'm not feeling well, and they just like give me their energy or whatever.
they have a certain energy to them that transfers to the owner, and the friendship is unexplainable. So it's truly an amazing. Anybody, obviously, you have to deal with the passing, but I recommend anybody in this world to own a dog. It's just an incredible feeling.
And speaking of which, they usually take a nap when I do my podcast. But here's one. Here's Theo. He's like, "Where's my Dogecoin? Where's all my Dogecoins?" So this is Theo. This is one of the two puppies. I kept him and
Okay,
his sister Gracie. He thinks he's the hero of the household.
nice.
His sister, she just started climbing up my leg. She's like, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me." I call these two peanut butter and jelly. He's peanut butter because he's got a brown coat. She's jelly because whatever attention he gets, she's jealous of.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then I got the mother around here somewhere too. Elsa, where are you? Where you at, Elsa? All right. The mother was around here. So I dated this girl and she had a Pomeranian. So the Pomeranian stayed with us. She moved in. And then the Pomeranian, she kept telling me she's pregnant. I like couldn't tell. I'm like, nah, she doesn't look pregnant. Sure as shit, one day she's driving in her Prius, my girlfriend, and the Pomeranian pops out a litter of three puppies. Like I literally couldn't believe it. I'm like, I guess she was pregnant. And the girl went to Alaska. I kept the puppies because the shelters are overrun these days, and I just fell in love with them. And I said, all right, you two are gonna be part of the family.
Absolutely,
Then
absolutely.
Alaska got hectic for the ex-girlfriend, and she brought the mother back, and now I got four. And I said, all right, that's it. We're at our max capacity.
So you think?
No, no, trust me. So I know I can't take none. We are at max capacity. We're we are done. Yeah. I think my Chewy bill challenges some people's car payment. Like,
My wife keeps telling me that she wants 1 year off of pets, obviously to deal with the trauma of actually losing the pets, but also to have a house that may or may not smell like dog. And so I've come to the conclusion that I no longer need to ask her permission. I just need to ask her for forgiveness once I've brought another pet home. So it works out a little bit better. I sleep on the couch for about a week, and
how many
you know,
dogs you got?
I have two.
Like small ones, big ones?
I have both dogs. With my one dog weighs about 145 pounds. The other dog is about close to about 100 pounds.
What's the big one? What kind of make?
He is what is called a specialized blue nose pit bull. He's massive, so he's basically genetically
It's
engineered.
probably almost like a mastiff. Sounds almost like
Yes,
a mastiff.
absolutely, absolutely. I have to walk him on my BMX bike, and the smaller one is a
What do you mean you got to walk him on your BMX bike?
well, I stole it from one of my children, but I have to act. That's how I walk him. He runs about 40-ish miles per hour, like a greyhound, and he pulls me. I'm about 250, and he pulls me on the bike. It's quite a spectacle. I can't do it during the day, but I usually walk him around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And
I will say that sounds like a big dog.
yeah, and he's only dumped me about 5 or 6 times. One of which I needed medical attention. The other which, I just kind of walked it off. But I don't recommend it to anybody unless you're Travis Pastrana to walk that dog the way I do. But and my other one is a specialty bully, tiny little female, but she's about almost 100 pounds.
Bully, just pit bull, right? Short leg.
No, it's a the bully is the break off. It's actually it's a very hard breed to explain. It's part of the pit bull breed, but it's definitely different. But she's
Does she have the short legs or the long legs?
short legs.
Okay,
Short
I know what
legs.
she is.
Yep.
Walk like this.
She's worth a Hyundai.
She's what?
She's worth a Hyundai. I couldn't believe I couldn't believe I paid that much money for her, but she's definitely worth every penny. So she's a beautiful little girl.
Wait, you spent 15 grand on a dog?
Well, back when Hyundai first came out, I'm going to say 7,500.
Oh, fuck, I was gonna say.
So, but she's worth it. So,
This guy, for whatever reason, he just loves being the center of attention.
absolutely, absolutely.
He's like, listen, Dad, when are we going to tell him about the puppy ball? So you ever hear of the teddy ball?
No, I have not.
I just did an interview with the guy that runs this charitable event. It's kind of like prom, but he's been doing it for 13 years in San Diego, and it's called the teddy ball. So I go
Wow.
in there and interview people on the red carpet, and so I've been raising food, money, and awareness, treats mostly for dogs in shelters because they just don't get treats. Like there's no treats to give them. Shelters barely have enough money for food to keep them alive. And so we plan to do a what's called a puppy ball here in Vegas in May of this year, where we're going to raise treats, awareness, and money for dogs in shelters. It's a unique
Oh,
model because if you spend $200 to sponsor a dog in a shelter, anybody that adopts that dog gets a $300 gift card from Chewy. So we take that $200 and we go to Chewy and we say, hey, will you sell us a $300 gift card if this dog gets adopted? When that dog gets adopted, the first $300 worth of dog food is paid for on the house. So hopefully it's a way to incentivize people to adopt maybe older dogs. The younger puppies usually get adopted quickly.
that's actually really awesome too, and it's heartbreaking walking through there and seeing that the average person just doesn't have any interest in the older dogs, never realizing that they're 100% trained and just have as much love as the puppies. But very sad to see something like that. The reality of that situation is just
Well, here's the huge reality. Here in Vegas, the average shelter has to euthanize 50 dogs a day.
ah,
So, and I don't even know how, like, I couldn't even do that as a job. Like, if
there's
somebody,
no way. No.
you gotta do this 50 times a day. And then the funny thing is they put the dogs in these 55 barrel drums and I don't even know what happens to them after the fact, but,
I don't care what they say. I don't care how they say it's just a job. You have to be absolutely without a heart to even try
well,
something like that.
I kind of want to say not so much, and I'll tell you why. They have to euthanize dogs because they just don't have the room or capacity to house all the dogs that are out there. So it's not like they have an evil heart. They're just trying to make it work for the dogs that they have. They can't overwhelm the facilities.
Sure, sure.
So it's
I
it's
would,
I think humanity would benefit greatly if people were given shorter jail sentences if they were to adopt a dog because that dog would give them love and a responsibility.
yep. No, I 100% agree.
Look at Theo. He's like, Dad, what are you talking about? You want me to go with some criminal? Oh,
Well, when you think about it, it's a responsibility, and not everybody is up for the challenge, but it's a responsibility that changes people. There's a lot of people out there that have, I mean, kids, for example, they have zero structure, they have zero, goals at all, and all of a sudden you plop a dog into their lap, and magically, they have all of these new ideas and they have all of these aspirations to be a little bit better each day, and knowing that they get to come home to somebody that's excited. And anybody that comes home to a dog, if you're a good dog owner, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be jumped on, and you're going to be licked, and all kinds of crazy stuff because they love you. And
Well, the
once
funniest thing
somebody,
is, I went for a trip for one day to host the Steve Aoki Poker Foundation event on 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I think it was Sunday. No, Saturday. I came back Sunday, and I was gone from like 8 in the morning, and I got back at 2 in the morning the next day. My flight left LAX at midnight, and it's so funny at 2 in the morning. The three little guys, they literally lose their minds. Like they lose their cookies. They're like, "Oh my God, you're back." I'm like, "Dude, I was gone for a day. You had babysitting the whole day." They're like,
I
"Oh my
could,
God, we didn't even know if you were coming back." I'm like, Where else would I go?"
they have no sense. I could walk to the mailbox and back in 15 seconds, and it's like I was gone an entire day. So it's they are. I lay with my big one like I lay with my wife. They lay like humans, and they just want to be loved, and they just want to be, Um, that's the hardest part. Speaking of dogs, especially with my big breed, is that a lot of these guys that want to go out there and get a pit bull because they want to look tough and they want to be part of that.
Dude, I got this guy. He's 9 pounds. I want to look tough too.
Usually the guys with the littlest dogs have the best self-esteem. So
You hear that?
it's like I always, if you're going to get a pit bull, if you're going to get any kind of a big dog, you have
Can you hear me?
it every single day. They're just going to end up. They're going to end up a mess, especially if you live in an apartment or if you have to exercise that dog every single day. So
Yeah. Do you guys have a house or an apartment?
house.
I was gonna say, like, best thing I ever got was a doggy door in my house. All my
Yep.
dogs go in and out whenever they have to, and
Yep.
literally, that's the greatest thing in the world.
Yep. It's absolutely one of the most fundamental things as a dog owner. So you don't have to get up 4 times in the middle of the night to take him out to go pee.
Well, my big guy, I had to get like the biggest doggy door because he would like go through the door and he'd like take the whole door with him when he went through the old door. And some guy tried to break into my house I want to say 2 years ago during the summertime. And the idiot literally went and broke the doggy door because all he had to do was slide open the patio door and he could have come in. But this jackass decides to break the doggy door. And my big guy, he's very territorial. He's King Corso Truckle Lab. So their role is like, hey, this is my house, this is my food. They're very food dominant. And he attacked the guy and he bit his arm and stuff. But I was upstairs doing a podcast. So I thought he was just, barking at something. I didn't, he barks at everything. And after like half hour of being on a podcast, I come down there and the cops are in front of my house and the lights are on. My dog's being held by one of the officers. I'm like, the fuck is going on? And this dude has got his like arm all ripped open. And the officer's like, don't worry, your neighbor called us. And I'm like, what do you mean, don't worry? What do you give me my dog back? What are you doing? He was dog friendly cop, so that was kind of cool. And he's
Sure.
like, no, I just didn't want him to run away. And I'm like, I put Jesse inside and I shut the gate behind me. And so they arrested this guy. Turns out this guy like broke into like 40 homes. It was around, I want to say 4th of July or something. He was just hitting homes and
Wow.
trying to steal laptops or whatever he could to find a value. And he's like, didn't you hear anything? And I'm like, well, he barks a lot anyhow. So I thought, he's just barking. I didn't hear anything because I was on a podcast. And so, anyways, they took him away. And I remember at one point, I told the cop, I'm like, what kind of idiot breaks through a doggy door when you could have just slid the patio door? And the cop looks at me, he goes, what kind of idiot breaks through a doggy door that has a hole this big? You have to assume
Yeah.
something's coming through that hole that's pretty big.
Yeah, you obviously need my merchandise more than I do if you're going to climb through a big door like that.
Well,
Jeez.
the funny thing is, the other people that he broke into their houses never showed up to the case. So I had to go show up for him to get charged.
Nice.
This guy keeps coming back. He's like, well, wait a second. He left out the most important part of the story. I was in the office and I was ready to go. If Jesse didn't take him down, I would have taken him down. Funny thing is, he's like 9 pounds. Jesse's like a buck 29, and it's so funny because he sometimes sees Jesse go into his like protection mode, and
Right.
he doesn't go near Jesse at that moment in time because he's a little bit afraid. But like when Jesse gets like his bark, because his bark is like a deeper bark, it's like. Brr, brr, brr. This guy's bark is like, "Rah, rah, rah." And it's funny because when he hears this deep bark, he's like, oh shit, that's a real bark. And I swear, I think down deep inside, he wishes he had a bark like that.
I bet.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you look at life with a dog and you look at life without a dog. I tell people all the time, there's an old saying, I don't know if it's old or new, but God sends us dogs or angels in the form of dogs without wings to watch over us as we watch over them. And I actually believe that's true because every one of my dogs all throughout my life, I didn't find them, they found me. Like
Yeah.
Jesse, I was walking dogs at the shelter, and one day they said, "Hey, we got this dog. It's one day away from his euthanasia. Can we bring him to your shelter?" Which was a no-kill shelter. And I picked up the phone. I was just a volunteer. I made an executive decision. I said, "Fuck yeah," because we had an empty cage for a big dog in the back anyhow. So the lady goes, "What'd you do?" I'm like, "I saved the dog's life. That's what I did." And she was all pissed off when it happened. But I stayed. I waited till he came in and I was walking some other dogs, and I had a leash and a tennis ball in my hand, leash in the same tennis ball here. He comes through the door, snaps off the leash, just like pulls the lady so hard that the leash and him go walking. And there's like five other dogs being interviewed. Usually, a big dog sees other dogs, they want to go to battle or something. He passes all through all of them, comes to a bench that I was sitting at. He starts licking my bald head like crazy. So I looked up and I like remember like yesterday, I'm like, God, is this a sign? Because I didn't have a dog at the time. My other dog died recently. And I said, is this a sign? And so I told the lady, I said, hey, I got to go to LA on Friday. And if nobody adopts this dog, I'll adopt him. Just because she was all pissy because I told him to bring the dog. And I remember it was like a Wednesday. And so I came back Friday at 1 just to check and see if he was there and walk some dogs. And I said, hey, did anybody adopt that dog? And she's like, oh, yeah, he's already gone. I'm like, oh, was it a young kid family? Does he have a young kid to play with? He has a lot of energy. She's like, yeah, I think it was that. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to go walk some of the dogs in the back. So I go in the back area and I open the door. And in the big cage, here's fucking Jesse, 35 pounds, all lanky. He's like trying to stand up in the cage. And I'm like, hey, did they not take them with? She's like, don't worry, the paperwork's waiting for you. We waived the $60. Just take them out of here with you. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't plan for this because I had a plane that was leaving in 5 hours to LA and it was like 1 o'clock. And I'm thinking, fuck, I didn't even think this one through. So I took the dog and right away I had to buy some time. So he stank a little bit. So I took him to Banfield, this place that grooms dogs, and I said, "Hey, I need you guys to give him the works, whatever it is, and I'll be back in like an hour or whatever to pick him up." So like they do his stuff, and they give him a nice good grooming. I call all my friends. I said, "Listen, I'll let you stay at my house. I just need you to watch this new dog that I got. I just need you to stay there for 2 days. I'll be back on Sunday." And like all my friends, like, I can't, I got plans, I can't, I got plans. I'm like, fuck you all. So my next door neighbor, who's a saint, and they moved, but I loved her and her family. She and her husband watched them literally every day for 2 days, and she was pregnant at the time. And it's funny because Jessie, from a baby, knew that her baby was in her belly. He knew her when she was pregnant, and then when she gave birth, Jesse literally guarded and protected that child, and he loves that child, like literally loves her.
That's awesome. No, I honestly the word angel is something that I use with my dog. I know a lot of dog owners that are really close with their dogs. They always have little conversations, every day. I have little conversations with my big dog all the time. I always call him my angel. But a funny story with how that went on is that I was going to just to look. I wasn't really thinking about actually purchasing a dog, and
Like, just gonna look.
so they brought out three females and they brought out four males. And they were tiny little puppies. And I was like, oh, wow, they're all cute because all dogs are cute. And then you start thinking about, 3 months from now, what it's going to be like. And next thing you know, the little gray one kind of pops up to my feet and he takes a piss right there, right by my feet. And I'm like, oh, well. I look down on him. He's got little cuts all over his head because his brother and sisters have been beating him up. And so I pick him up and he's just got a little food on his face and just absolutely adorable. So I thought, you know what? Let me think about it. Let me think about it. I'll give you guys a call. And as soon as I walked away, he came chasing. He was the only one. Nobody cared about me. All those dogs, none of them. He was the only one that chased after me, literally. And I said, okay, this is a sign. Handed him the money. got in the car, and didn't have sex with my wife for over a month. But it was definitely worth it. It was definitely worth it. So
Wow, you know it's amazing. I do a lot of stuff with AI, and a friend of mine, Isaiah Jackson, was like, he was talking about the birthday of Len Bias, who was a basketball player in Chicago that died before he got a chance to go to the NBA or out of Chicago. And he said, well, if the Celtics got Len Bias with Bias, Bird, and McHale, they would have taken at least two of those rings from the Chicago Bulls. So I asked Grok, which is Elon Musk's AI platform, to give me an answer. And it's actually pretty amazing. It's like this is highly speculative, as Len Bias' tragic death means we can only hypothesize based on his college dominance and the Celtics' aging core. Bird, McHale, Parrish. Scenario one, Ben Bias thrives, bolstering Boston's front court. They challenge the Bulls in the East in 91 and 93, potentially stealing one, maybe two rings. The Bulls still win four. Scenario two, injuries persist. Bird retires in 92. Bias adds both depth, but the Celtics fade. Bulls dominate, win 5 to 6 championships. Scenario three, Bias elevates the team, wins 88 to 90 rings. Bulls era splits the 90s with the Chicago three each. So it gave like three different scenarios in a situation where you had to literally guess, and it was pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting when you see AI.
yeah, AI is definitely for me. It's bittersweet. I do like the capabilities of it. If I wasn't a content creator, I would absolutely adore AI. But AI is, in some retrospect, it's made it a little more difficult to be a content creator because now everybody's a content creator. But as far as getting a 99% accurate assumption of something within a click of a button, I think that's incredible. To find something, to research something. Years ago, you'd have to go to a library, read a newspaper, talk to your grandfather. Now you'd say, "Hey, Grok, how you doing?" And they already know what you're thinking. Especially too, and the wonderful thing about Grok too is that, and this is no pitch to Elon, but the wonderful thing about Grok is that it's actually getting smarter and it knows you. If you do have the app, it will, because it retraces its steps. So I mean, just a
Well,
lot of people.
it doesn't store conversational data. So it is getting better, and it
Right.
does get to know you a little bit. What really would make Grok very good is if it stored conversational data between you and Grok, so it could get to know you better
Sure.
over time.
Well, so I had a kind of a weird thing because I'm not delusional, and I'm more of a realist, but I know that technology is insane, especially at this point. But I started using Grok as soon as it came out, and I was having a conversation with it. I usually talk to it every once in a while, and it had made a comment, said, "You are the United Spot," and because I was asking them a question about something, and they said, "Okay, well, we'll go ahead and make this, part of the United Spot." And I was like, "Whoa!" And it kind of knew everything that I was already talking about before I was
Well,
even
because that's
going.
because you logged in with Spot, correct?
Right, right, right. But
Yeah.
the words that I was speaking, because it doesn't know me like on my YouTube channel, it doesn't know me on my Instagram or my Facebook or my True Social. But the way it was able to, it was pretty good. But I'm not sure if you followed Doge Design on X.
I want to say I kind of do. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, so Doge Design is, everybody thinks that's Elon Musk's dummy account, but it's actually some guy, I believe in India or something like that. But he's been following me for a long time, and
Are you talking about Doge Designer?
yes,
Yeah, I follow him.
yeah. So he made, every once in a while he'll, well, not every once in a while, pretty much every day, he's just the hype man for Elon. And so he had made a comment, because I always kind of clown him a little bit, but he follows me anyway. But and I've made videos for him and all that kind of good stuff. But I had made a comment today because he had said that Elon said that, if you reply to people, or if you like look at people, that they'll become part of your algorithm. I said, oh, maybe that's why Elon's only shared one of my videos. I said, I got to start making better. And so he replied back. He said, no, your videos are really cool and very original. So it was always cool to get a comment from that guy, even though He's kind of like me. He's very anonymous, but we believe that he's actually from India. So, but he's always the hype man of Elon Musk. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like what Elon's done with the acquisition of Twitter from X, which, by the way, I'm actually shocked that the DOJ didn't go after the former executive team of Twitter because they clearly committed, in my opinion, securities fraud with false data and bots. They ran bots throughout that platform like crazy, and there were bots designed to help the left, the radical left.
Well,
And
why stop there? I mean, we got to go. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, who had done this in the previous Trump administration, and as soon as Trump won last time, and as soon as Trump won this time, it was, oh yeah, Obama made me do it. Joe Biden made me do it. It wasn't me.
well, I
And
gotta tell you, the people who like to take it out on Zuckerberg. The real person that was pulling the puppet strings there is a girl named Sheryl Sandberg.
yep,
She fades into the dark and literally avoids a lot of the pain points,
yep.
but she is knee deep into the radical left.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And what Elon's done, because, as content creators, where I predominantly veer to the right, even though I'll call out a Marjorie Taylor or two every once in a while, and I've been doing that for years. If
Yeah,
I
I tell
see a
you,
rhino, and
I
if I
gotta tell
smell a
you,
rhino,
Marjorie's I gotta give her mad respect. Like she's literally pushed this Epstein file information out of the dark and into the light, which granted, I don't think she's getting anything out for it anyhow, because they're only gonna share the unredacted or the stuff that they don't want to share. I mean, let's be honest, it's clear as day to me that they're worried about some security, national security issue. Well, they're basically telling you that Epstein was working with Israel and the CIA to create compromising situations that they could hold over other people.
no, absolutely. No, and there's a lot to it, and it's been something
By
that's
the way, let's take a moment. Shout out to Bill Gates and Reid Hoffman, you parasitic scumbags.
the sarcasm is heated. It's the Epstein in itself is a horrible, horrible thing. The whole entire conversation with that, and the reason why it's horrible is because it works for politicians. It's a dangling fruit for us peasants. And if you're a weak-minded buffoon who just kind of just goes with the copy and paste and whatever's in your buddy's timeline, and you haven't researched anything, you'll see that this is something it's no different than the black and white racism. It works. As soon as you say Epstein, all the hamsters come running out of the cages and they're looking for that pellet. They're looking for it. They want to, they want to be involved with it. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. They have no idea where they're going, but they want to be part of it. And they're
Well, it's
sharing.
literally this one subject matter that literally agitates both sides of the aisle.
Sure, absolutely. And the greatest question was asked to Chuck Schumer, and I believe it was yesterday or the day before. Why did not, in the 4 years that Joe Biden was president, did he not release? Yes.
He said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
It's a good question.
And I've done, okay, so just to give you a brief example of what I do, I call out the politicians and I expose the lies, the corruption, the dirty deeds, the criminal activity, the treason. I create it, I expose it with humor. I expose it with comedy. And I've been doing that for a very, very long time, and it's caught the eyes of so many people. I've been featured on MSNBC. I mean, Alex Jones used to premiere my videos for years on InfoWars because there's so much truth in humor, and it's an easier way to swallow the truth versus listening to some babbling journalist who you can't, may or may not believe. To shove that rhetoric or whatever they want to push down your throat. It's easier to swallow when it's humor. And I've always, used my scripts to be somewhat South Parkish, so Family Guy, Simpsons, to where it's easier to swallow, and you also leave a little bit of a door open to where you can research it for yourself. Like, there's no way this is real. This has to be a joke. This has to be comedy. And then they research it, like, holy shit, a comedy channel is bringing the truth, and it's something that I've prided myself in because I've got over 4,000 videos now. And
How many podcasts?
What's that?
How many podcasts?
I don't do podcasts.
So this is your first?
Yeah, this is actually my first podcast.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Never before heard on a podcast Whoa.
Never before.
Never
Never.
before.
Never
Like
before. First time on Chris
breaking
Champion.
news. Breaking news.
Breaking news. The United Spot has broken through to the Chris Champion show. Chopping it up.
They're chopping it up. The funny thing is, everyone always asks me, what kind of show is it? What kind of show is it? Listen, we can make muffins. We can make whatever you want. I just like to chop it up with people. They're like, oh, just you talk about anything? Yeah, it's like fucking just getting all the conversations out there that are worthwhile hearing.
Absolutely. No, it's just Charlie Kirk said it best. Once you stop talking, you know, you got to talk. You
I
got to
miss
talk.
that. I miss that guy a lot.
You know what's it's really really sad. The to show the indecency of people when all that happened, and now that they're so comfortable. Obviously, a lot of them were sitting there just waiting for their moment to where they could come out and be the actual horrible people that they actually are. But to sit there and not even just humiliate Charlie Kirk and his legacy, but to humiliate his wife, and to destroy all that. I
His
just
wife or his life?
his wife as
Oh
well.
yeah.
It's
Well, I
disgusting
gotta
to
I
people.
gotta tell you something, and I got this is the conspiracy theorist that in me that's popping its head out. How the hell do you get shot in the neck like that? And there's no blood splatter. There's no blood stain on the floor. They carry him 300 yards to a car, and there's no blood along the path. Like I
Right.
get it, but I got to tell you that assassination, there's just a lot missing there. Just a lot.
Well, you know what's crazy is that I've dealt with I lost a family member in Vegas at the concert, and so I
Concert? Are you
had
talking about the one that the guy shot? 54
yep,
some odd people.
yep.
Wow.
And so I lost a family member there, and one of the hardest things to deal with was knowing that there was going to be conspiracy theorists out there. And not even 2 days after it had happened, we had to go through everything. There were people actually on YouTube saying that my family member was still alive and it was all a hoax. I mean, legitimately, and it had millions of views saying, "Oh yeah, yeah,
Well,
this
I
was
got to
all
tell
just
you something about that event. I was actually at the Bellagio when it was going down,
uh-huh.
and there's a lot that was a cover up. There was definitely a lot covered up there.
Have you seen Mindy Robinson's documentary on that?
No, no, I've seen a lot of documentaries. I don't know if it was Minnie Robinson or
Mindy Robinson, the most unbelievable documentary you'll ever see in your life. It's a little long, but it's better that way. I've never watched a documentary, especially losing somebody that's a family member. It literally gave you everything you need to know, and there was a little bit more that was going on that they don't talk about a lot, like 9/11. They didn't say anything about the people that were on the ground shooting because there was fire from the ground. It wasn't, and you start doing
well, here's the thing. There was fire from the ground because people needed cover. They needed to be able to dip into the crowd. And here's the funny thing I got to tell you. A buddy of mine works in security. You know those two windows that he supposedly had a
yeah,
very long drill bit to drill a hole in, and then he had a sledgehammer to break open?
yep,
The second his drill bit would have hit the glass, there's two panes of glass with nitrogen gas in between, I think. They're basically called hurricane proof windows. They're designed that even in a hurricane wind, those windows will not pop out. But there's also a sensor chip inside there. So if somebody, has a bad night, loses all their money, and they try to commit suicide by jumping through the window, the second that window feels any pressure or anything against it, the sensor goes off and security is notified, and they send security up there and say, hey, yo, motherfucker, you can't put holes in the window. But supposedly this jackass was able to drill a hole into the window, knock it out with a sledgehammer, which my buddy said easily that takes you an hour to 2 hours, and then do another window and do the same thing without security in that fucking hotel being notified by the sensors in both windows and sending people up there.
yeah.
Now, here's another cuckoo thing. He supposedly was able to drill out the hole, that you look through your door to see who's in the front and put a camera in there. And he was able to put a camera into the hallway. Now, the securities in these Vegas hotels are insanely good. Like they have eyes.
Mafia style, mafia
Huh?
style, mafia style.
Well, I would say, yeah, more than mafia, like crazy, like military like. For him to have done all that stuff, and the security team at in this case the Mandalay Bay not being able to know that it was going on, Made no sense, literally no sense. So my buddy said the only way that that even happens, if it did happen that way, the only way that happens is if somebody from a three-letter agency is sitting there over their shoulders going, "Let it happen, let it go." We're
Kind of
waiting
like
for
January has a very January 6th-ish feel.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Christopher Ray. May you burn in hell.
Him and Comey and well, all of them, Brennan, all those guys. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I'm very hopeful for Cash. I'm really hoping that him and Dan Bongino do something other than talk.
I gotta say it right now. Both him and Cash Patel and Bongino, they're utter failures. They're literally failures so far.
I'm giving them a year.
I'm not
I'm
giving
giving
them
them
any
just
more time whatsoever. When Cash went to Congress and said, "I've seen all the evidence, I've seen all the files. I can't tell you that there was a crime committed by anybody." And then, like, I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker, there's a girl in jail right now because she was trafficking women who were fucking raped. Somebody had to rape them. And this guy literally goes up in front of Congress, literally just lies through. I mean, you can tell when people are lying. Same thing when Bongino just lies through his teeth.
well, it's. I've had this conversation with so many people, and the sad story is that people get sucked in because we've been so um, inherently brainwashed with reality television, video games, music, movies, TV that we're obviously under the impression that everything around us is real. I mean, you take my wife; she's sitting there watching Desperate Housewives or The Housewives of Orange County, and I told her it's all scripted, sweetie. It's not real. It's not real. And I said it's no real. It's no more real than Jasmine Crockett having an argument with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's all scripted, and the reason why is because the government needs us to fight amongst each other. It's just no different than you going to a Raiders game and me going to a Niners game. The difference is that you're going to hate me and I'm going to hate you, and we'd have no idea why we hate each other other than the fact that your team wears black and mine wears red. And that's the same thing that they're doing with Congress and Senate. They want us to hate each other.
You meant
And
blue and red, right?
I don't watch sports anymore. I was just kind of guessing to look
Oh,
cool. But it's really sad that you take, for example, Jasmine Crockett, right? Yeah, she's probably has some background in education and whatnot. They're not as stupid as a lot of these Republicans and conservatives make them out to be, but they're definitely not. They're not job qualified. But they put the people that draw the biggest crowd in the front line, like AOC, Nancy Pelosi. You put Nancy Pelosi in a room with nobody, and you're going to have 1,000 people because they just want to see her slur. They want to see her dentures come out. They want to see her spit. They want to see her mumble. Same thing with Joe Biden. Nobody has any respect for these people, but it's a show. It's a constant show. So and I hate to steal lines from movies, but there are no left. There is no left or right. There's haves and have-nots. We have not, and they do, and they're in power. That's why a prison is run by a select few number of people. That's why schools are run by a select few number of people, because they use fear. They use all these different tactics to control you. And the division tactic is the leading in controlling the peasants. The distraction. I mean, the way that they're able to divide us into so many. I mean, they've got people thinking that it's totally normal to identify as a couch, and we're supposed to respect that.
yeah, exactly.
I'm a couch. Where do I take a pee?
Well,
Where do I
the
pee?
whole gender thing we went through over the last 4 years with the nitwit Biden in office, along with Kamala, it blew my mind how
Yeah,
much insanity they would let pour down into the younger generation. And when I say younger, I mean not as young as like 5 and 6 and 7 year old kids.
yeah.
And like when you tell, like when I was 5 and 6 years old and 7 years old, I ate rocks and dirt. I didn't
Yep.
know my mind hadn't fully formed yet. And by the way, don't hold it against me. The rocks were kind of tasty. But at the end of the day, when you let kids, decide, hey, I'm a cat or I'm a boy or I'm a girl, no, you're what God made you. I mean, God doesn't make a mistake. He makes boys and girls, and that's it. There's nothing in between.
You can't plug a carrot into a friggin' wall socket. So,
Well,
you know,
you probably could, but it wouldn't be a good outcome.
it's just it was really sad the level of stupidity. And you know what? Above all anything else, what Trump brought us was the way to actually see this country for what it actually is, and it's filled with idiots. And I honestly don't. there's an average, I would say, because I don't think that they're all inherently, purposely stupid. They just don't have enough time because they are part of the worker bee program to where they're at work 8 to 12 hours a day, 6 7 days a week, and they don't have enough time to research exactly what's going on. So they just kind of go with what their neighbors and their dads and their grandparents taught them, and so they're just inherently passed on thoughts. They have zero. They're too stupid to make up their own minds. And so what they have to do is they have to just basically go off of what their dad taught them or what their teacher taught them. And that's why it's really scary to see how easily it is to brainwash somebody. It's extremely easy to manipulate somebody's mind into thinking that, we have to be nice to people that don't know where to go to the bathroom. I don't care. I mean, you do your thing, but
I'll be honest with you, I don't have
tell
to
me
be
it's
nice.
normal.
I don't have to be nice. I'll tell you an interesting story. I was at an event in Fort Lauderdale, and it was in the morning. We had a breakfast. It was a private breakfast. Great event. Worked out really good. And I'm going to the bathroom. It's like 8 in the morning, and I'm going to the bathroom. And I see two women, and then I see this husky, what I thought was a guy. And like I go, the bathroom was like a hallway here, and then left for the girls and right for the guys. So they all three go left, and I am about to go right, and I'm like, "Hey, yo, what are you doing?" And one of the girls speaks up for him, and she's like, "Oh no, he's a girl." I'm like, "No, he's a he." She's like, no, it identifies the girl. He's okay with us. We're okay with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not okay with it. What if there's a little girl in there? This one, buddy, if you got a dick, you go in this one. If you don't, you go in that one. Literally, they called security. Oh my God, security. I'm in there in the bathroom. Security comes in there like, sir, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Did you get the guy out of the girl's bathroom? Well, I mean, he doesn't admit to being a guy. I'm like, well, for sure she admitted to him being a guy. And they let him go in the bathroom. It was early in the morning. I didn't want to make a big stink because I didn't want to get kicked out of the hotel. But it blows my mind because we live in a time where men are afraid to speak up, but when you do speak up, you got these idiot white liberal lunatic women that think it's okay to bring their guy friend into the bathroom because he's wearing a skirt and thinks he's a girl. No, that motherfucker's stuck in Halloween. He's still wearing his Halloween outfit. He's a guy. I don't care if it's okay with you. It's not okay with me. Doesn't have to be okay with you. It's what's right and what's wrong. You don't put a guy in a women's bathroom.
The average, and I'm going to be extremely blunt. And I think you seem like a smart man. The average of the people that identify uh, the mental cases, the average of crimes these people commit, disgusting crimes. They laugh and they joke around in public. They do the story time with the kids and all that, half naked and whatnot. The crimes that these people do, and they're factual crimes. It's not like they're made up. It's not like some kind of a weird, conspiracy theory. They're actually committed of crimes. There's actual proof that these weirdos are doing this kind of nasty stuff. It just goes to show you that instead of, we need to open up the insane asylums again.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the truth because the insane asylums they went away for a reason because there was no end in sight. You couldn't get out once you got in. Like it was you had to prove that you're not insane, which that's such a variance there. I can be cuckoo on any day.
Well, I
So
tell you what, I think we should have a program that says, "Do you still think you're a man trapped in a woman's body?" Well,
yeah,
let's
but
see
yeah, but
one
if
day in
somebody
there.
says no, I don't, but yet secretly they do. I mean, like I said, it's one of those things that has too much variance in them. You end up keeping people in there forever, or you let people go because they lie to you. At the end of the day, we just need common sense. Like we went through so long of a time period where literally we have so many weak men in society right now. We have so many very feminine, weak men in society and that are afraid to speak their mind, to speak up. You see something wrong, speak your fucking mind. Do not worry what other people's opinion are of you because you spoke up. If you see something wrong, a guy walking into the girls' bathroom does not work on any level. High school, airport, casino, doesn't work ever. He might walk in there and there's a little girl, 15-year-old girl, going to the bathroom. This weirdo might sneak his head underneath the fucking stall to see what he can see. These people are mentally ill. They need to be talked. You need to talk to them in a stern voice and say, listen, That doesn't work. Get the fuck out of there.
Yep. Well, and then the sad part about it is they become the
By the
victims.
way, shout out to Planet Fitness, you fucking retards. Unbelievable.
Those I can't. Don't even get me started. I
Well, I
can't do
mean,
it.
multiple times they've stood in defense of men going into the women's bathroom, and the one guy's literally he's butt naked, showing off his schlong in Planet Fitness to a fucking 13-year-old girl,
Yeah.
and then they're like in support of that guy because some lady went, "Hey, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah. It's terrifying to think that that level of stupidity is actually considered respectful.
Well, here's the
It's
other
insane.
thing too. We live in a weak society where that poor blonde girl from the Ukraine that got stabbed by the lunatic black guy, nobody, not one man, nobody ever stood up and did anything in
No,
defense of her. I mean, you see a fucking crazy guy whip out a knife. There's not a thing in your life that shouldn't say, "Hey, tackle that guy. Stop him from killing this girl."
yep,
And the fact that she died, literally died on the floor and bled
alone.
out, and nobody went up to her. Nobody went to check on her. That speaks volumes of how
Oh
weak
yeah.
our society is.
The sad part is you see all these videos all the time, and you see all these weak men. Now, I come from a society. I come from a family. You see somebody in trouble. I mean, you're definitely not going to risk your life, but I'll definitely step in and I'll put an end to it
Actually,
fast.
risk your life. I mean, listen, you have to be willing to risk your life to stop somebody from going crazy and killing somebody else. You have to understand if somebody's got a knife and you go to grab his arm, something wrong could happen. He could stab you, you could die. But you know what? When you get to heaven, when you get to the gates of heaven, God's going to walk up to you and he's going to say, "Hey, listen, that's the right way to come to heaven." Listen, we're all
Absolutely,
going to die one day anyhow. So at the end of the day, how you die, it's either up to you or it's up to God. But at the end of the day, if you're going to die by someone accidentally stabbing you because you tried to save some girl's life,
die with honor.
that's just, yeah, exactly. You can't control when you die. You can't control how things happen. But if you go and you literally try to do the right thing and live the life right, you're gonna literally you're gonna meet God on your terms, and God's gonna give you an attaboy. At
Absolutely.
least I'm kind of hoping God, you give me an attaboy. And at the end of the day, we live in a very weak society. We have weak men. We have weak families. We have children that are growing up way out of control because they don't have a strong father in the family figure. In fact, the black community would be better off trying to keep black families together and keeping a strong father inside the family unit rather than tearing them apart. Make baby mamas. What is the concept of having five women carry your children when you can only be a father to one? One family unit. But
Yeah,
the rappers all made that popular. Baby mama this, baby mama that. No, we don't need to make baby mamas. We got to make families. We got to make really strong families so the kids get raised properly. They have that father figure that literally gives them direction in life.
absolutely.
Holy fuck! Did I ever think I was gonna fucking talk to Spot about this shit or what?
You just never know when you're chopping it up with Chris Champion. You just have no idea what's going to happen.
See Spot run. He was like, wait, can we get involved in this thing again? It's getting a little heated. What are we talking about here, huh? Yeah, do we have to take some guys out with a knife or a machete on the fucking bus? Man, if I ever took Theo to fucking London right now, we'd have a fucking field day. He'd be like, "Yo, motherfuckers, you got a knife? I got teeth. Let's fucking go." He'd be like, he'd be like, who's the mayor of London? Khan? Oh my God, what a loser. Loser!
Yeah.
UK has turned into an utter fucking shithole.
You have no idea how many people email me and message me on a daily basis begging me to do videos about the UK.
Did you
That's how
see the
bad it's
Joe
gotten.
Rogan episode recently where they showed how many people are in jail for social media crimes in the
Yep.
UK?
That's to be honest, it's
It's like
horrible.
1,200.
It's
And like
horrible.
all everywhere else in the world, like the tops, like Turkey, I think was like 40. They're literally putting people in jail. Like this video, if I lived in the UK, pretty sure some motherfucker would be knocking at my door going, "Yo, homie, you violated about 10 social media laws. You
Yeah.
made fun of transvestites. Here's a funny thing too. On Instagram, I use the word transvestite. They're like, oh my God, that's a hate crime. I'm like, what the fuck? When did transvestite become a hate word? I'm like, it's just a description. No, no, it's transgender. Transvestite sounds like a vegetable. I'm like, mentally, these people are vegetables. They're mentally ill.
Well, it's
By the way, shout out to Instagram, you Nazi-driven censorship group of
uh,
piles of walking dog shit.
I tell you, I think YouTube should hold a special place in the hearts of that
Well, I'm
particular.
hoping to upload this video to YouTube, so I can't tell those guys to fuck off, but I'm pretty sure they're from the same cloud.
Well, I tell you what, I've had, believe it or not, I'm actually doing extremely well right now on Facebook. I was doing amazing. I was doing amazing on YouTube for many, many years. And then all of a sudden in one particular month, my monetization, my revenue, my reach, view, everything just went 95% drop. And YouTube, every time you reach out, oh, they have the same AI response, and they don't give me any kind of. So I've
If
just
you're lucky,
been.
I don't even get a response. There's like the
Uh,
echo chamber.
Oh,
I mean,
I go in. I'm in YouTube. I do the seminars and whatnot. I get invited to the groups to where I get to sit there and talk in the discussion shops and whatnot because I'm trying to find out what in the hell happened. And the sad part about it is I'm extremely transparent with what I do. Everything is comedy. Everything is fake. Everything is parody, satire, you name it. And Google Ads refuses to even allow me to put an ad on any of my videos or my channel because they think I'm running a campaign, an actual political campaign.
listen, let me make it easy for you. Google Ads, Google Corporate, they are left-leaning lunatics
Oh, I
run from the
know.
very top to the very middle to the very bottom.
Oh
They
yeah.
are a campus full of lunatic lefties.
Oh yeah.
And they don't even understand the Constitution or the concept of free speech. That's why what Elon did changed the entire direction of America. Had they kept going in charge and controlling the social platforms, this country would be fucked. Might
So
already be
I'll give
fucked.
I'll give you a little bit of a funny story. When Elon first bought X from Dorsey, I started creating videos. That's what I do. And the best part about what I do is that when the people that I make the videos for start sharing them, I think it's hilarious. I don't know if you know who Devin Nunes is. He's a
Yeah,
CEO of True
he's no
Social.
longer around. He's the CEO of
True
Truth
Social, yeah.
Social, right?
So yeah, so Devin Nunes, I've made with him and Dan Scavino alone in cash. Devin Nunes has probably shared probably 300 or 400 of my videos, right? And so when I started making videos of of Elon Musk, and at this point right now, I compiled them all together. It came out to 2.5 hours of video memes of Elon Musk, right? That I uploaded, and I just could not believe that I made. I mean, it's literally a walking tribute, but it's also a documentary in comedy form of all the trials and tribulations he's had since he bought X. And I got to tell you something. Elon has shared one of my videos and a picture.
Well, that motherfucker isn't sure jack shit from me, but I still love the guy. I uh,
I
I
honestly,
support everything he's doing.
actually, you know what? I would rather sit back and have zero credibility whatsoever as long as people are getting free speech because that's the one thing that's really sad is
Buddy,
that
what he's done with X alone is just
yeah,
amazing.
it's incredible what he's done. So and the
Hey, by the
fact
way,
that the
how did
Democrats
fucking Zelensky get $500 million of his own money to invest in a ski resort, into a ski resort in Switzerland? And how
had
does he
Kamala
have the
Harris
ability to buy 700 acres of land in Wyoming?
had
Why the
Kamala
fuck are we not auditing all that money we shipped overseas? That was the greatest money laundering operation. Somebody better go to fucking jail.
how did Kamala Harris get $1 billion and is now missing 20 million? Nobody's talking
Well,
about that.
yeah, I mean, I think she gave that to all her superstar celebrities.
Kamala Harris. You imagine how fucked we'd be right now as a country if they made it her and
Oh
Tim
my
Walz.
God. Like seriously,
Oh,
the 4 years under Kamala and Biden were quite
couches would have
possibly
their
the worst
couches would
4 years.
have their own restroom. Couches would have their own restroom.
I mean, my dogs identify as a dog. They need to have their own bathroom.
Ugh. Gotta love it.
All right, so listen, people are afraid to speak up these days. You're obviously not. Fear is the one thing that I find holds people back from their greatest life. How do you deal with fear?
Fear is definitely not something that I tolerate, nor will I even introduce. I don't subscribe to fear whatsoever. I live my life how I feel, and I don't answer to anybody. I follow rules when I'm in someone else's house. So if I'm on YouTube or if I'm on Facebook or X, if they have a set of rules, I follow them. But if I'm able to speak my mind, I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. I speak my own opinion, and I see it, and I say it how I see fit. And if you have a problem with that, you either understand or move along. I don't hate anyone, or do I discourage anyone from ever thinking or being afraid of saying what they want to. That is our God-given right as human beings, and it's the only thing that we honestly have left. But that's how I deal with fear. I don't let it. I don't let it take over my body.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice because fear literally is something you create in your own mind. If you're afraid, it's the devil's way of convincing you to be afraid.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, listen, we got to chop it up again soon. It's been a while since I did a podcast with Spot. Sit, Spot,
Absolutely.
sit.
Woof. Good dog.
There you go. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a great one.
You as well. Thank you.
Hold on one second. Don't go anywhere.